When we are talking about reality-based technologies such as augmented reality and virtual reality, we are in fact talking about two emerging technologies that exist along a reality scale. The reality scale is hereby what we define as everything from the purely tangible to the purely digital, with everything else sitting somewhere in between for the purposes of this video. If we take a look at the reality scale, you'll notice that various technologies sit along this from the left to the right. The further along the scale we go, the more purely digital the experience tends to become. Now, it is important to note that each of these technologies has a place in the world, and each of them has its own rich history, which we will cover in separate videos. This scale is otherwise known as the reality-virtuality continuum. Now, some technologies share similarities between each other, and this field and this scale is changing, and there is new additions being added as time goes on, as the definitions become more defined and the experiences become a lot more refined. In order to be able to understand where these technologies lie within the scale, we must also understand what each of these technologies are defined as. We will now go through a brief introduction of each of these technologies and explore each of these technologies in more depth in its own separate video. Augmented reality is a technology that superimposes a digitally generated image or object into a 3D space over a user's view of the world, providing a composite view, typically via a screen-enabled device using a camera for tracking and detection, such as a mobile phone or tablet. However, we are starting to see the rise of augmented reality wearables, such as glasses, to enable the user to get a computer-generated view of the world, whilst also being able to retain their view of the real world in its surroundings. The concept is to merge both the real and the digital into a seamless engagement where both are visible at the same time, and it is also possible for the two to interact in some manner. Augmented reality typically comes in two forms, the first being marker-based augmented reality, and the second being markerless-based augmented reality, sometimes also known as plane-based or environmentally based augmented reality. Both of these use computer vision to be able to detect the world and its surroundings. We will cover augmented reality, its history, its problems and its advantages in more detail in a special video dedicated to this topic. Virtual reality is a computer-generated simulation of a three-dimensional image or environment, which allows users to interact typically via HMD or a head-mounted display with the surroundings, with the real-world view obscured via the headset device. Users can explore the surroundings using 6 degrees of freedom. Virtual reality currently comes in two main forms, that of the mobile virtual reality experience and the desktop or more high-end virtual reality experience. Virtual reality operates via two displays in the head-mounted display unit, with the image slightly off-center on both views, so the left and right eye get a slightly different perspective view. Your brain then sees these two images as one three-dimensional image, giving a sense of depth to the experience. Virtual reality typically also utilizes gyroscopic data. This can be either using a mobile phone or using inbuilt gyroscopes in the actual device itself, with a lot of VR devices also featuring tracking capabilities. This can be either inside out or outside in tracking. We'll go into virtual reality in more detail in a video dedicated to virtual reality itself, its history, and the technology that powers it. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview of the reality-virtuality continuum and the definitions for some of the technologies that therefore lie within its scale. We will go through each of these technologies in a lot more detail in our own separate videos, so please be sure to stay tuned for those, alongside tutorial guides on how to produce content for each of these technologies. I have been Stephen Fisher. If you have any questions, please comment below. And until next time, goodbye.